Good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to be here tonight to greet all of you. Thank you, Sally and Cheryl, for opening up your beautiful home to one of the most important organizations that I've ever saw across my desk, Hatzolah Air. I've got my Hatzolah Air cap on. We're going to have the privilege, actually, we're going to have the privilege and the honor to hear from the one and only Eli Rowe, who is synonymous with saving Jewish lives. I would say today, all over the world. It maybe started out in America, it maybe started out small, but with Eli and all of the participants and volunteers and everybody that makes Hatzolah Air, I think the only organization that I know when we're in the most difficult time of our life, God forbid, when there's a crisis of proportions that warrant what Hatzolah Air does. Before I call up our host to say a few words, I would let you know that the program is short, concise, and to the point. You'll hear from Sully, you will hear from Eli, you will hear from Rabbi Shlomo Fari, our keynote speaker tonight. I will go around, hopefully, and raise as much money as the crowd allows us tonight for Hatzolah Air. Whoever's having dinner, please continue. You can get up during the next few minutes because I made a game time decision that we are now going to watch the video. After the video, I will call up our host to again welcome all of you to his home. Please play the video.
Hatzolah represents Citation 10, which is the fastest jet in the world. It's just going point A to point B to the speed of the sound. That's the airplane you need to transport people with the needs. It's just amazing.
Our goal at Hatzolah Air is to be able to have aircraft strategically located throughout the world to launch and assist. Mission ready, always.
You know that you can rely on Hatzolah Air no matter where you are in the world. I mean, you have somebody ready to help you out. And that's something that simply didn't exist.
I remember seeing the plane finally blowing up. That's a feeling that's hard to describe.
As much support as anyone can give Hatzolah Air. They are a unique organization and they streamline a process that can be traumatic for so many families.
I don't know where I would be without that. God bless you guys, all of you.
You can see how much information an organization can give you in such a short time. And Eli, you've done a wonderful job in telling us how many hours, how many pilots, how many people are helping, how many planes. You will ultimately have 11 Hatzolah Air aircraft situated in the most strategic places around the world. I think it's incredible that Sally has agreed to open up his beautiful home. I'd like to ask our host to come up and greet everybody, and then he will introduce Eli Rowe.
Welcome everyone. The mission of Rabbi Farhi, the host committee, Eli Rowe, and the outstanding volunteer team here tonight about Hatzolah. Cheryl and I would love to welcome you all to our wonderful evening, celebrating Hatzolah and all of its prestigious efforts and selfless dedication to Am Yisrael. First, before we really speak about Hatzolah, I want to personally give a real thank you to Mr. Harry Ajmi. Really we've been through hundreds of fundraisers and his tireless efforts for the community at large. And you can never forget those words that we all saw on social media. It rings in my ears every day that he would double down. And those words serve as an inspiration to every one of us all. To double down on life, not just with our money, but with your heart, your efforts, your dedication, with its financial dedication, a helping hand, a smile to another Jew, a kind word to another human being. We all should really look and introspect and say, what can I do in my own way to double down any way means that we can? Thank you again, Harry. I also love to acknowledge and thank Kathy Adis and Lenny Salama, who last year introduced me to a human being that I call him Superman. One of my good friends calls him and his organization the Chesed Chasers. Thank you, Kathy and Lenny. Tonight I want to thank you all for coming. I know how busy the summer schedule is. We all have, and you take your time out to come out tonight to support Hatzolah and to learn more about what it does. To me, it's simply remarkable. Another level of chesed. When I met Eli Rowe and his vision, that chesed literally has no boundaries or borders. To give our people a comfort to know that wherever we are literally in this world, help is a phone call away. The organization flies across the globe, helping Jews in need. Emergency airlifts, stuck in countries or cities that you don't have the proper care or confidence or comfort level that you need. As a matter of fact, just today, when I called Eli about the event tonight, we had a brief conversation. He told me about a story in Rome. Two beautiful young couple, father lives in Lakewood, and they unfortunately got into a terrible accident and emergency needed, and they had to evacuate them out of Rome and bring them home for much needed medical care. Those are just one case of dozens that happen all the time. We could all appreciate the feeling of being at times helpless when you need someone, a familiar face or a hand in your time of despair. These gentlemen, as Martin said in the video, and his father, act as angels in the sky. Simply put, the organization has unconditional love to our people, saving lives and giving a helping hand when there is despair. We call it in Hebrew, Me'al HaTeva, above nature. And it's no coincidence that today's date is August 8th, and the event was called for 8 p.m. When Eli and I spoke a couple of months ago, and we were trying to figure out on the calendar the right date for tonight, we tried 4 or 5 different dates, and then we mentioned August 8th. And Eli on the phone said, that's it, 8/8 at 8 p.m. For those who know, the number 8 in Judaism is above nature. We know there's 7 days in the week, but the 8th day is the Milah. There's 8 days of Hanukkah. It's above nature. There's the 8th sprinkling of the dam when the Kohen Gadol does on Yom Kippur. 8 is above nature, and that's exactly what drew me to Eli Rowe and his personality. It's above nature. To think on the highest level, a concept about every norm, to own and operate our own feeder planes with no limits, to get our brothers and sisters home, the proper medical help that they need at the time. At a very young age, I really understood the importance of tzedakah and chesed growing up in the home of my parents. The rabbis teach us that the world stands on 3 pillars: Torah, Avodah, and Gemilut Hasidim. Here today, we can all agree and say that this organization is one of the pillars holding up the world, with the Gemilut Hasidim. I implore all of you today to have an open heart, to have a giving hand, to help them continue doing the chesed and keeping the world in Am Yisrael Kayam. Let's all double down and help these truly over-the-top Hesed chasers and truly amazing organization. Thank you all. I'd love at this moment to be able to introduce Mr. Eli Rowe in person. You've heard his name many times tonight. Thank you, Eli. Thank you.
Are we having fun yet? Thank you so much, Solly and Mrs. Mizrahi. Unbelievable. To open your home, open your hearts. It's just heartwarming. You know, Solly mentioned a case, a request that we had. I'm a commercial paramedic, I'm a commercial pilot, and a New York City paramedic for about 30 years. And every single request that we get makes us cry. Just before Shabbat, there was a couple that Solly mentioned in Rome. Happens to be a very, very prominent family. They were in Rome, they were in a terrible accident. And the husband of 23 years old was sent to one hospital, and the wife of the same age was sent to another hospital. This Friday. She was diagnosed with lots of fractures, a fractured hip, fractured pelvis, fractured elbow, open stomach, lots of things going on. And he was released from the hospital in excellent health and said, "You're fine." He takes an Uber to visit his wife in the other hospital. And when he's there, he says, "I don't feel right." Nurse looks at him and says, "Are you okay?" And he says, "I'm not feeling great." They take a blood test on him, and more than half the blood in his body was leaking from his liver and his spleen into his stomach. They called me up and they said, "What do we do?" I said, "Let's get him to a trauma center." And Dr. Grishko, one of the Hatzolah Air flight doctors and chiefs of our medical department, made a quick conference call together with Dr. Newman and the hospital over there, and they said, "If you wait 20 minutes, this man will be dead." So they opened him up. Wow. He's had 5 surgeries, he's on a ventilator, and he's stuck in another country in the absolute worst possible situation, and he needs a tefillah. Tonight, we're dedicating this evening for the refuah shlema of this young man. Now, incidentally, his wife, who was told she needs to be operated on a little rinky-dink hospital in Italy, called us up crying. And her mother is the daughter of a very prominent Rosh Hashiva, only a few miles from here. At 6:15 this afternoon, I'd like to single out Abigail Reich, say hello, wave to that young lady over there, who puts her life and her neshama into Hatzolah Air, heard about, she's an EMT, and heard about the situation, and volunteered to fly to Rome. And today, with a team from Hatzolah Air in Europe, flight medics that went to Rome, together with Abigail, together with some others, we flew her back and she landed safely this afternoon, not 2 hours ago.
Straight to a hospital.
Straight to a hospital. She went to Cornell in Manhattan, and we did an inter-facility from Rome to Cornell. This afternoon, an hour before that, I'd love to say that, you know, that we picked this date for today, but I'm just telling you what happened today. Not a week ago, not a month ago. This afternoon, we flew a 16-year-old boy who suffered a cardiac arrest in Israel. You know what cardiac arrest is? He was dead. They opened him up, they resuscitated him, and they put a permanently implanted defibrillator in him. And he's had 11 subsequent events, and he needed advanced care in the States. And Hatzolah Air flew him back today, and he's right now in a hospital getting advanced care. Today, these two. Now, I will say that Hatzolah Air started with a bunch of crazy people. They're in the room. Dr. Newman, Ron Levy, Chaim Sharf. There's many people from Hatzolah Air here. But one thing we have in common, we're all crazy. We're crazy about saving your life for free. I'm a volunteer, they're a volunteer. None of us get a penny. We did our first flight in September of 2019 with one guy. His name is Ben Phillipson. He donated one small plane called a Lear 60. I don't know if those of you have ever been on it. A small plane in one phone call. And he allowed us to change the world in September of 2019. We did our first flight. I will tell you then, And we have some of our incredible volunteers that 24 hours a day, ladies, they go to shul on Shabbat with a hidden phone and they answer the call of help. We started with one request every 3 weeks. And today we get over 30 requests a week for help. It is unbelievable. I look around the room and I see some people that I know we've flown you and your family members. And for those of you who we haven't, thank God we have it. But if you're on vacation in Panama or Mexico or need treatment anywhere in the world, if it's an emergency, we will fly you for free. I am proud to be Jewish. I am proud to be an Hatzolah. This year, we formed a partnership with the state of Israel. We opened up an Hatzolah Air. Yes, the guys that are sitting next to you in New York run every single helicopter EMS in the state of Israel. If you call any Magen David Adom, any Hatzolah, anybody, and there's an emergency that needs a helicopter from Masada, from a lot, from a transport, etc., every single helicopter that you will see in Israel is a Hatzolah Air helicopter that we do. Today we have 9 aircraft, 4 helicopters in Israel, 2 that are in service and 2 that are coming more into service. We have 4 aircraft here. One of them is a Gulfstream G550. That was donated to Hatzolah in the event that we need to fly. We can go non-stop from Miami to Israel. And we've flown into Ukraine and we've flown into many areas, all for free. It's incredible. Before we call on Harry to introduce the next speaker, I'd like to let you know that we stand and deal amongst friends. We've had the privilege, there's a chut, to treat many families, and we're on standby for every single family in the Deal community. If I can ask to show one video from some people in the Deal community. Thank you.
November 2020, prime COVID time, we decided to make my son's bar mitzvah in Miami. We landed in Miami and my father has a pre-existing medical condition. He's burning up with fever. Sent him to get tested, him and my mom. We find out they're both COVID positive. My mother, thank God, she was okay. My father was really out of it. I need to get him to New York. Nobody wanted to touch, nobody, COVID, not interested. No pilot wanted to know from it. My brother-in-law Lenny from Hatzolah said, let's call Hatzolah Air. Lenny gets in touch with Eli Rowe and he said, I'll be there tomorrow. Eli and his crew took him to New York. At the same time, somebody found out that Hatzolah with the plane was there. There was another Jew in excruciating pain, could not move. He took him as well. My father said it was like angels in the sky with him, literally. Somebody making sure his oxygen, his blood pressures, everything was okay at all times. When they landed, there was an ambulance waiting for him. He had to go straight to Cornell. If not for Hatzolah Air, my father could have probably ended up in some clinic somewhere, and only who knows, God knows, Hashem knows. I have so much hakarat hatov for what Hatzolah Air did.
It was an experience you don't want to experience it, but if you ever need it, God bless them. They're there to help you and save you. They saved my life.
The way they treated him, never asked me for $1, just there when another Jew needed him. L'shem Shamayim, all from their heart. My son's bar mitzvah was the next day, knowing that my father was in the hands of another Jew, allowed us to enjoy and give the attention to my son that he needed.
90 people now confirmed dead in the Surfside, Florida condo collapse as the crews search for...
We went to Florida, needed to go there to bring back someone who had passed away. When the building fell, we didn't know how to do something in quick fashion. Shalom Lakesh got us in touch with Eli, and the next thing we knew, we had a plane going to Florida, doing a chesed shel emet, and making sure that they were there to bring back someone that needed to be buried here. In the process, while we were on our way back, Eli apologized to me that we were going to have a few more people on the plane on the way back. There was an older couple. The husband was not feeling well. They had no way to get back. They heard that we're flying back. So on our way, they were able to do a second chesed and bring this couple back. It's something that literally on a dime, they're able to, to help those that need it.
I believe in Hatzolah Air. I had an event for them because the importance of transporting people from one place to another, anywhere in the world, and saving their lives is an invaluable act of chesed, and I wish this organization the best.
Hatzolah Air is something that's an unbelievable idea, not just in this country, but all over the world.
The community at large will use Hatzolah, unfortunately, a lot more than they'll use Hatzolah Air. But if you ever need Hatzolah Air, there are no other options.
I have nothing but gratitude for them, beyond the words.
If somebody's away, we have somebody that can take them, bring them, and get them the medical care they need. Our insurance policy is to make sure that we support Hatzolah Air to be able to rely on them.
Whatever dollar we give them is not anywhere near the cost that they incur to transport a patient.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased and I'm proud to introduce to you a man that is not only my dear friend. I've had the zechut and the blessing for me and him to call each other true buddies. We don't get that all the time with rabbis. Rabbi Shlomo Farhi is an incredibly fascinating man with a giant heart, and he knows how to capture young and old alike, men and women equally. He is the rabbi of the Edmund Safra Synagogue on 63rd Street for the last 5 or 6 years. He is doing probably the most incredible job that any rabbi could do to acquire the minds and the body and souls of all the congregants in the city. They don't come because they're told to. They don't come because they're forced to. They come in droves and fill up the synagogue 7 days a week because they want to. That's both men and women, young and old alike. It gives me great pleasure to introduce you all to our keynote speaker tonight. Thank God we brought him from London, England, and his wife agreed to come back to America to teach Torah and to make us a better community. I think he makes the world a better place. Rabbi Shlomo Farhi, I'm honored to have you come up as our keynote speaker tonight on behalf of Hatzolah Air.
Thank you, Harry. I just want to start by saying Hazaku Baruch. Cheryl and Sola Mizrahi, Hazaku Baruch for doing this, for opening up your home to this incredibly important organization, doing literally God's work and saving lives around the world. Hashem should bless your family with health, with success, with parnasah, with all the brachot that God has in his heavenly arsenal for what you are doing tonight, because what you are doing tonight will echo and reverberate throughout many, 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 many generations of people whose lives will be saved because of what we're here to do tonight. I also want to thank Eli Kreindler for bringing me here, for reaching out, for arranging this, for the hours that we spent on the phone. I want to thank Eli Rowe as well, who is literally an angel disguised as a man. It's a very special... Your business is important to us. Please stay on the line, and someone will be with you shortly. You got it, no worries. So thank you, Eli Rowe. You are a hero to Am Yisrael. The Torah teaches us tzedakah tatzil mimavet, that charity saves from death. This idea means that a person who gives charity is blessed with an insurance policy where God saves them literally from death. And the Gemara actually gives an example of how real this idea is. Charity saves from death. Shabbat, page 156, Amud Bet. Umid Rabbi Akiva, and we learn this also from Rabbi Akiva. Havia Labarta, he had a daughter, and he was told by the astrologers of the time that the day of his daughter's wedding would be the day of her death, Bar Minan. Says the Gemara, he was so bothered. Rabbi Akiva was plagued by this news. A mixture of both happiness and fear combined and coalesced on the day of his daughter's wedding. He knows that this is the happiest day of her life, but he's also been told time and time again that this is the day that she dies. The Gemara tells us, Hahu Yama, that day, she got into bed that night and she took off her golden hairpin from her beautiful tresses, from the magnificent hair that she had done up for the wedding. And as she went to bed, she stuck it in between the bricks and the stones in the wall. She wakes up in the morning, and what happens as she pulls it out of the wall, says the Gemara, a snake comes out of the wall, impaled on her golden pin. She pulls the snake out of the wall on the pin. She shows it to her father, that prophecy that had been given to him, that they'd said to him time and time again would take place. That disaster is averted. And she shows it to her father, and her father says, Amala Vua. And I could just imagine the scene. He's cupping his daughter's face in his hands, and he says to his daughter, Maya Avidit, what did you do to deserve this salvation? Amrale, she said to him, Bipanya Atya Anya. Last night, amidst the wedding celebrations, a poor man came and he was starving. And he knocked at the door of the wedding. With the noise of the music and the cacophony of sounds that were taking place, says the Gemara, everyone was busy. Havitridi kuli alma, the whole world was taken up in the wedding. Veleka de sham'eh, and there was no one who heard his knock. Ka'amina, the bride, Rabbi Akiva's daughter, said to myself, I heard, I got up, shakalte l'nistanai, I took my meal, Daddy, that you brought for me to eat as the bride on her wedding night. And I gave it to him. Dihabetni, yahifteni leh, I gave it to him. Amma la, Rabbi Akiva said to her, mitzvah avart, you did a tremendous mitzvah. Rabbi Akiva walked out of this conversation, walked right into the synagogue, gives a big bang on the bimah, and he says, ladies and gentlemen, I have a speech to give, and the greatest rabbi that ever lived in the Jewish people, Rabbi Akiva, stands up, and he starts his dirasha with the words that I just started. Perhaps that's the only similarity between Rabbi Akiva and myself. That we both began a dirasha with the words, Tzedakah tatzil mimavet. Tzedakah saves from death. But my friends, there are some needs that don't get heard by anyone. No matter how hard you knock, there's no one who is hearing you. No insurance, no hospital dreams of what we are witnessing tonight. No health coverage, no matter what premium you pay, is willing to give you what this organization is willing to give you for free. There are certain knocks that don't get heard by anyone because it's too big a job, it's too expensive, it's too complicated. So the knock comes and no one answers the call. My friends, in the time of Mashiach, God promises us, I will carry you on the wings of eagles, and I will bring you to me. My friends, that does not only refer to becoming the national Messiah, when Am Yisrael goes back to Eretz Yisrael and rebuilds the Beit HaMikdash, but everyone who is looking for their personal Mashiach, for their salvation, God says, I will carry you on the wings of eagles. And today we are fulfilling that prophecy from God, hearing that knock and raising ourselves on the wings of eagles to be able to take people to heavenly salvation. Rashi tells us, why is it compared to the wings of eagles? And Rashi says, because there's a difference between an eagle and every other bird. Every other bird has no natural enemy coming at it, right, from below. It's from above. So where does a bird keep its young? In its hands, in its claws, because it's worried about birds of prey descending on it from above. But an eagle, it flies the highest of all birds. So there is no natural predator from above. So it does not put its young in its claws, but rather al kanfei nisharim, on its wings. The only enemy of an eagle with no natural predators in the ecological circle of life is from a human hunter. And the eagle, by putting its young on its back, flying it in the air, says, Mutav sheikanes hachetz bi. Better that the arrow should penetrate me than it should penetrate my kids. The eagle recognizes that when you love someone, you put it on your back and you raise it to the very heavens. My friends, we live in an unbelievable time. We have unbelievable access to medical care. We have fantastic organizations that provide everything that you can imagine. Insurance companies that will pay for the most sophisticated operations. But sometimes the threat comes to someone from an unexpected place where there was nothing that you could do to protect yourself. It comes not from a cure. We don't have a problem with a cure. We don't have a problem with a transplant. We don't have a problem with a hospital. We have two enemies in those critical moments: space and time. Today, our community does not only live in Brooklyn, Deal, and the city. Today, huge numbers of our community find themselves in Pesach programs all around the world. They find themselves for yeshiva break in cities around the world. And if we are spending more and more time away, all the organizations that we invest so heavily in, that take care of us right here, in this place, suddenly become a distant help that you cannot reach. Hatzolah Air brings you back to that warm embrace, brings you back to what you need in that time. We defy gravity to deliver miracles. We are a modern-day angel, Raphael, flying through the sky, bringing HaKadosh Baruch Hu's chesed in this moment. Every person who gets sick, my friends, the words of Tehillim chants from around the world reign supreme. Remember, Harry, I remember in my own life, when the Tehillim chants and the Tehillim are soaring to the heavens, when the words of Torah classes are echoing throughout the world. But in my mind in the heavens, I hear a beautiful melody, a harmony of those tefillot connecting with the sound, the roar of a Hatzolah Air engine as it brings the person its destiny. It brings the person that tremendous gift. But this, my friends, is not only about this gift of flying in the air, because I know that many of you are thinking, is this great thing, which is so expensive, isn't it a luxury? That's a question everybody wants to know. Let me talk to the elephant in the room. My friends, that elephant needs to be addressed, because our Gemara does not believe in that. Our halakha teaches, Kol hamatzil nefesh achat miYisrael, you save a life, one. It's as if you saved the universe entire. Every takeoff is a triumph of human compassion. Every landing is a testament to Am Yisrael's care, their chanun, their rachum, where we emulate every one of God's 13 aspects of compassion. It's a proclamation when a plane takes off fueled by your dollars, that we believe that there's no distance far enough, there's no boundary or border when it comes to caring for another Jewish person. My friends, private jets, luxuries. Super important celebrities, A-list stars. I agree with you. But my friends, when it's your wife, husband, son, daughter, when it's your grandpa or grandma who needs to be saved from wherever the heck they are they not the most important person in your life? Are they not an A-list celebrity? At that moment, would you say that that's too expensive or a price not worth paying? You know what, my friends? We have to make sure right now that if we want that service available when we need it, because at that moment, trust me, it's worth anything. You'll sell it all. You'll set fire to everything you own to be able to get that help, that success, that you need. And my friends, it can't be done at that moment. Because you know what? It's not about private jets or helicopters. It's not about speed or altitude. It's about the lives that get saved, the stories that we rewrite, the futures that we preserve for countless patients and their families. And I want you to picture this. You're at a chuppah, we all go. You see a father, a mother, a daughter walking down the aisle. It's beautiful. They're crying. The joy is unbelievable. You're looking at this, and don't we all cry along with the dad as he gives his daughter a blessing before he lets this young man take his daughter the last 20 feet down the aisle. My friends, I want you to blink and see that same scene, but without the father standing there next to his daughter. It's the same beautiful night. You're in the same hall, but now it's marked by a sadness, by what could have been. Blink again, and he's back. Yeshuat Hashem, says the Gemara, says the Pasuk, the salvation of God comes keheref ayin, in the blink of an eye. And we can write or rewrite that story, whichever way we want, tonight, with your help here. For those of you that are already supporting, I just want to say, thank you for the lives you already helped save. For the child that received a new heart in the nick of time. For a brave grandmother who defeated cancer thanks to the swift treatment. To the person in this community flown to another country when she could not receive the platelets that she needed to survive. We were all praying, but without the roar of the engines, where would she be? My friends, even the mightiest jets needs fuel to soar, and that's where you come in. We don't want only your money. Tonight we want you to partner with us. We want to make you co-pilots on this life-saving mission. We want you to soar with us to a future where the father stands next to the daughter, where that grandmother is in the picture. And I'd like to end by saying this. My grandfather, he was married to my grandma, and she passed away when I was very young. He remarried my step-grandma, my grandma Anita, and we all loved her very much. She had a wicked sense of humor. I still remember as a young kid she would say, "Come here, come here. Whoa, is that a monkey?" Like, you know what I mean? Stand next to me. Have you had a bath? Stand over there. She had a beautiful sense of humor. She was so special. She also talked like this, so she sounded a little bit Jones Riversy. She was very funny. She had a great heart. We loved her very much. And then they went on a cruise. And out in the middle of nowhere, in a tiny place, down next to some shore of some godforsaken place, she was infected by a flesh-eating bacteria. They took her off the ship, got her to some hospital that barely had Band-Aids, and she passed away. And tonight I'm thinking to myself, what if, at that moment in time, Hatzolah Air actually existed? Maybe she'd be here tonight telling her story. Well, my friends, that's not an empty threat for Hatzolah Air to stay in existence. Every single one of you, and everyone that's going to watch this video, we need you. This is not a cheap endeavor, but it is one that is absolutely necessary. So tonight, like Rabbi Akiva's daughter, let's answer the call. Let's answer the knock so that when, God forbid, we have a call to make, there is someone to answer ours. Thank you.
Rabbi, that was incredible. But I wanted to interject one more thing. I can assure you that if that were the situation at that moment with your grandma, that Hatzolah Air would have gotten their roaring jets flying, and they would have went to this island, they would have picked her up in one of my famous lines, and they would have brought her back to her destination. Wherever that would have been, whatever hospital that would have been, whatever medical center, whatever would have been necessary for her, wherever in the world, I know they would have done that. So what we have to know and be thankful for, Rabbi Fari, is that in 2019, thanks to my friend Ben Phillipson, first plane got fitted and went up and roared in the air. And from there and from them, anyone that needed this service, anyone that needed this help, Eli Rowe and his team and the doctors got up in the air, they went and got him. I don't know how they interconnect with these hospitals and get permission in foreign countries and customs and passports and bring them into, I don't know. I don't understand it. But I know God does. And I know that He's making a difference in the lives of those people that need Hatzolah. So Eli Rowe, thank you so much for what you're doing today on 8/8 and tomorrow and every single other day possible that you guys are roaring up in the air. What's that? They told me to check my phone, and the same second I did that, I got a phone call. So I didn't know if it was you calling me, checking my phone, calling me. I have a boss tonight. Alice is not here. You gotta laugh. You gotta lighten up. I got a new boss tonight. Thank you. We have, before I go around and do what I famously have done over the years, and ask you all for your support, like Rabbi Fari said, your big support, your big financial support. Let's go deep into our pockets. Let's make a difference for Hatzolah Air. Let's show them that this community has checked the box in all the organizations and charities that we give to. We've become philanthropists in these last 10 years. We have become the most incredible fundraising machine that I've ever seen in my human life in the last 10 years. Not to say it doesn't go past that, but that's when we started to make a big mark for the reasons that I'm not going to get into. But Yossi Pinter is here tonight. Yossi Pinter is giving us, to open the evening, solid $101,000. Adam Sassunis and his family are giving us $101,000 tonight. I will go around now.
Sure. I'm sorry, I'm stealing this for 1 second, because I just heard Adam Sassunis' name. He's somebody that I did not know 3 years ago. Okay? I did not know him, and he's here with his wife Dana and his kids. But Adam Sassunis called me up one day, and he said, I heard about Hatzolah Air. I'm a young guy. He runs an incredible company called Dwight Capital. And he said, I would like to be part of the Hatzolah Air family. So I'm thinking, what's he giving us, an hour of gas? Is he going to buy us an oxygen tank? I said, what is it, Adam? And he said, I would like to give you a plane. And if you look on your tables, there's a model. Adam, just stand up for a second. I know you're shy. Come on, Adam, stand up. You know what, give me a hug. Come over here. Adam, come here. Adam gave us a plane. This plane has flown over 500 patients and their families. This young guy right here gave us a plane, Dwight Capital. Adam, I love you.
Keep it up. I thought we'd get another plane out of you tonight.
Me too.
We're working on it, Ellie. We're working towards it. I have a couple of other pledges then I will do as my honor that I've been given to go around and to raise as much money from as many of you that can make a difference, fill those tanks of fuel, and like the rabbi said, get those engines roaring whenever they need to get up in the air. So thank you both to Yossi Pinter, Alan Sinonis, for both giving $101,000 towards the budget, towards the fundraising efforts of the Hatzolah Air 2023 campaign. Ezra Rani and Gabe Kesri are giving us $18,000 tonight. Yes. Shmuel Carey, Mark and David Shemtov. Shmuel Carey, Mark and David Shemtov are giving us $50,000 tonight.
In honor of Adam Sassunis.
Do they do business together? Something going on there? I know you didn't know. In honor of Adam Sassunis. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's a beautiful thing. The Irani family, in honor of their parents, Martin Iranian's family, are giving $18,000 towards tonight's campaign. I said Gabe Kesri and Irani prior to getting that a little donation interruption are giving us $18,000 tonight. My friend Gabe is here. The Nakash family are giving us $18,000 towards tonight's campaign. I asked Eli Krendler who this is. He said, I don't know either, but Eli Rowe does. There's an anonymous person here in the room tonight. Thank you. I don't know you, Mr. Anonymous. But they are giving us $18,000 towards tonight's campaign. So I thank you also. Solid. The Mizrahi family, our host, and his wife and his brothers and his dad, the Mizrahi family, are giving us $18,000 towards tonight's campaign. The Ajmi family, my brother Alex and I, and our wives, and our family, in memory of our parents, our foundation is also giving to Hatzolah Air $18,000 happily from us. I don't know, go around the room. Whoever hasn't given yet, I will put this away because pretty much that's what I have on the public announcements. And $2,600 from Stevie Russo. Thank you, Stevie. The LifeWorks Group, Eddie Mizrahi is here with his wife. Thank you, $3,600 towards tonight's campaign. Thank you, Eddie. Elliot Franco is giving us $5,200 tonight. Thank you. From the Edelman family. Edelstein. I apologize. David Edelstein and his wife and his family, Fortune, are giving us $18,000 towards tonight's campaign. Thank you to the Edelstein family. You took it. Go. Ellie can interrupt me. You can interrupt me.
I just want to give my thanks to Ellie. I never had a chance to thank him for bringing me home, keeping me safe, and keeping me alive. Thank God. I don't know where I would have been if it wasn't for him, or how I would have been. So, thank you, Ellie. Thank you, million. Everybody open up your heart, please. I'm happy for anybody at any time.
Kathy and Michaelitis, $5,200 in honor of Ellie Rowe. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Michael. Morris and Sophia Dweck, are they here tonight? God bless them. Not only giving us $5,200, but they're here tonight to help support the endeavors of Hatzolah Air. The Zakai family, thank you. The Zakai family, keep helping, are giving us $5,200 tonight. Thank you to the Zakais. The Gindi, Henry and his wife, Henry J. Gindi. I guess there's a lot of J. Gindi, so we have to check. Henry Gindi, God bless you. Ellie is giving us $10,000 tonight. Thank you to the Gindi family for coming and supporting wherever you spoke. Incredible. Fabulous. Got it. Oh. The Shaya family are giving us $3,600. Thank you, Eddie was right. Thank you for doing that. I lose track. Monmouth Builders, I believe you $3,600 for tonight's campaign. Thank you. I am not nearly done. I've got to go around. I've got to make sure that everybody, the Allahan family are graciously giving us $18,000 towards tonight's campaign. Thank you. Giving us. On top of the annual contribution that Alex Velas gives every year, he's adding another $10,000. Alex Velas, $10,000 on top of whatever it is that he gives you annually. It's a new donation. Lori and Renee Rofe, $2,600. Thank you to the Rofe family. Jackie and Noah Gindi in honor of our host and hostess tonight. With Dr. Leon Sullivan. $3,600. Thank you so much to the Gindi family. Thank you. David, Oved, and family are giving us $100 tonight. Thank you, David. We need more. We need more. Whoever has not given us yet, please. The Ashkenazi family, SDI, $1,800. Thank you. Yes, Eddie, where are you? Leon Sultan, Dr. Leon Sultan is giving us $1,000 to tonight's campaign. Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Ellie and Albert Fatiha are giving us $2,600 towards tonight's fundraiser. Who else? Is there anybody else that would like to make a donation to Hatzolah? What is that? Okay, good. Give me a glass. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to make a pledge to Eddie Mizrahi, to Sally, to myself? Sally, before I sign off, do you have one or two more pledges to make? Not yet. David Blatt, so you should all get some food. You should get a drink. You should get a glass of wine with your wives. Do not that you have anywhere to go, because I'm not going, because there's nowhere to go. But I've seen him before. His name is David Blatt. He's coming on in about 10 minutes. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what he's got up his sleeves. But this man is going to entertain you like you have never been entertained before. So let's sit back, get some food, get a glass of wine or a drink if you like. You're all here. You deserve a pat on your backs. You deserve a hug. You deserve a thanks for everyone that came out tonight. If there's anyone that wants to give me, Sally, or Eddie Mizrahi a pledge, I'm closing off the mic and we will happily, honorably take your donations for Hatzolah Air. A worthy, worthy, worthy cause that we believe in, that we love. I repeat what the rabbi said time and time over. The roaring engine's up in the air. So please, everybody, God bless you all. I'm putting the mic down. Get up. Let's mingle and schmingle for 10 minutes. And when you see a man up there by the name of David Blatt, sit down, put your seatbelt on, and watch him. Because you are going to get some real Tuesday night 8-8 enjoyment out of it. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you, Sally, and thank you, Hatzolah, for giving us this opportunity, this chance to participate in saving lives and giving money to the most worthy of organizations. Ellie Rowe, you should continue to have the co-op and the strength. God bless you. Let me have my glass of wine.